Welcome to our channel, where we explore the darkest corners of history. Today, we're going to examine one of the most infamous haunted houses in American history, the Amityville Horror, the DeFeo murders. On November 13, 1974, a horrific mass murder took place in Amityville, Long Island, New York. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the eldest son of the DeFeo family, brutally shot and killed 6 members of his family while they slept. The victims included his parents, George and Louise DeFeo, and 4 of his siblings, Don, Allison, Mark, and John. The DeFeo family had lived in the large Dutch colonial house at 112 Ocean Avenue for several years. They were a seemingly ordinary family, with George DeFeo working as a car salesman and Louise a homemaker. However, behind closed doors, the family struggled with internal conflicts and tensions. Ronald DeFeo Jr., 23 at the time, had a troubled relationship with his father. He was known to have a volatile temper and had previously been involved in altercations with his family members. On the night of the murders, DeFeo claimed to have been driven by a voice in his head, which told him to kill his family. The murders were discovered by Ronald's sister, Dawn's boyfriend, who had been worried when she didn't show up for work. Police found the victims in their beds, each shot multiple times with a .35 caliber rifle. The crime scene was gruesome, with blood-splattered walls and floors. DeFeo was arrested and charged with the murders. During his trial, he claimed to have been possessed by a demonic entity, which drove him to commit the atrocities. However, prosecutors argued that DeFeo's actions were premeditated and motivated by a desire for inheritance and revenge against his family. In the end, DeFeo was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 concurrent life terms in prison. The DeFeo murders shocked the small town of Amityville and left a dark stain on the community. The house on Ocean Avenue, where the murders took place, would later become infamous as the Amityville Horror. The Lutz family. In December 1975, just 13 months after the DeFeo murders, George and Kathy Lutz moved into the house at 112 Ocean Avenue. The Lutz family, including their 3 children, were unaware of the home's dark history. They had been searching for a larger house and were attracted to the property's size and affordability. George Lutz, a former Marine, was a pragmatic and skeptical person. Kathy, his wife, was more sensitive to the supernatural. Shortly after moving in, the Lutz family began experiencing strange occurrences. Doors would slam shut on their own, and objects would move around. They heard unexplained noises, such as knocking sounds and whispers. At first, the Lutz family dismissed the events as the typical creaks and groans of an old house. However, as the occurrences intensified, they became increasingly unsettled. Kathy began to feel an eerie presence in the house, and George started to experience vivid nightmares. The Lutz children also reported strange experiences. Their son, Daniel, claimed to have seen a pair of glowing eyes in his bedroom. Their daughter, Missy, spoke of an invisible friend who would play with her. The family's youngest child, Greg, would often wake up screaming in the middle of the night. As the events escalated, George and Kathy Lutz became convinced that their house was haunted. They began to research the history of the property and discovered the DeFeo murders. The realization that their home was the site of such a horrific crime sent chills down their spines. Desperate for answers, the Lutz family turned to paranormal investigators, including the renowned Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens conducted a series of investigations, capturing audio evidence of unexplained voices and movements. Convinced that the house was possessed by malevolent spirits, the Lutz family decided to leave. After just 28 days, they abandoned the house, leaving behind most of their belongings. Their experiences would later be documented in Jay Anson's best-selling book, The Amityville Horror. The haunting. The Lutz family's experiences in the Amityville house were documented in Jay Anson's book, The Amityville Horror, which became a bestseller. The book detailed the strange occurrences, unexplained events, and terrifying experiences that the family endured during their 28-day stay. According to the book, the Lutz family experienced a range of paranormal phenomena, including moving objects, unexplained noises, and ghostly apparitions. They also reported feeling an intense, malevolent presence in the house, which seemed to be watching them. The book claimed that the house was haunted by the spirits of the DeFeo family, who had been murdered there. The Lutz family believed that the house was a portal for evil entities, which were drawn to the site of the horrific crime. The Amityville Horror book sparked widespread interest in the paranormal and the Amityville case. Many people were fascinated by the idea of a haunted house, and the book became a cultural phenomenon. However, some critics questioned the validity of the Lutz family's experiences, suggesting that they had fabricated the story for attention and financial gain. Others pointed out inconsistencies in the book and discrepancies in the Lutz family's accounts. Despite the controversy, the Amityville Horror remains one of the most famous haunted house stories in American folklore. The book has been adapted into numerous films, and the Amityville house has become a legendary symbol of horror and the supernatural. The haunting of the Amityville house continues to fascinate people to this day, with many believing that the house remains a hub of paranormal activity. Others see the story as a cautionary tale about the dangers of meddling with forces beyond our understanding. Controversy and legacy. The Amityville Horror's legitimacy has been disputed since its publication. Many experts and skeptics have questioned the authenticity of the Lutz family's experiences, citing inconsistencies and contradictions in their accounts. One of the main criticisms is that the Lutz family stood to gain financially from the book's success. George Lutz admitted that he had been struggling financially before moving into the house, and some argue that the haunting story was fabricated to secure a book deal. Additionally, investigators have pointed out discrepancies in the Lutz family's timeline and accounts of events. For example, the family claimed to have experienced intense paranormal activity, but neighbors reported no unusual occurrences during their stay. Despite these controversies, the Amityville Horror remains a cultural phenomenon. The book has sold millions of copies worldwide, and the story has been adapted into numerous films, including the 1979 classic starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder. The Amityville Horror's impact on popular culture extends beyond the book and films. The story has inspired countless other haunted house tales, and the Amityville house has become an iconic symbol of horror. In recent years, new evidence has emerged that challenges the Lutz family's account. In 2010, Daniel Lutz, George's son, released a documentary, My Amityville Horror, which cast doubt on his family's story. The documentary revealed that Daniel had been coached by his father to fabricate parts of the story, and that George Lutz had a history of manipulating facts for financial gain. The controversy surrounding the Amityville Horror continues to this day, with many debating the validity of the Lutz family's experiences, regardless of the truth. The story remains a fascinating and terrifying tale that continues to captivate audiences. The Amityville Horror's legacy extends beyond its cultural impact. The story has also sparked important discussions about the nature of horror, the power of suggestion, and the human psyche. The Amityville Horror has become a cultural touchstone, symbolizing the darker aspects of human nature and the supernatural. Its influence can be seen in countless horror films, books, and TV shows. The Amityville Horror's controversy and legacy serve as a reminder that the truth is often stranger than fiction. While the validity of the Lutz family's experiences may be disputed, the story's impact on popular culture is undeniable. Conclusion: the Amityville Horror's dark history continues to captivate audiences. Was it a genuine haunting or a clever fabrication? Join us next time for another exploration of the unknown. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more true horror content.